It's the end of the summer. These pots have done a good job for us, but they've kind of bloomed out. We're about 2 weeks away from frost, so we're going to change out these pots and put some color in for the winter and fall. And there's a few tricks to planting big containers like this, and I hope to kind of clue you in on them, and so you can. The first thing I do when I'm setting up the pot for planting is I take the plants still in their containers and I set up the planting the way I want it to look. This way you can move things around. You haven't committed to having this flower here or this flower there. So you get the idea of what you're wanting to do, the look you want, and then once it's set up, in this case we have 2 containers in front here to do, and they need to be pretty much identical. So you set one up, that gives you the whole key, and then the other one is just an automatic thing. So we've got this set up. This is the way I want to plant it, and now we're going to start planting. In planting a pot this size and in its location, since it's in front of a house and it really needs to show, what we have to do is just plant these things tight right up next to each other. That has the added benefit of these things are going to be in this pot over the winter and in the spring, so some of them will kind of get beat up and banged up by the weather, and others won't quite so much. Those will come back, and this one just makes a better looking pot. It's good from the get-go. Looks good. It's a little more expensive to do it this way, but I think it's well worth it. How about that? Another thing with a pot this size, or a container, that's the proper term, is it is so large that you can't just plant 1 or 2 of a color and then put another 1 or 2. You've got to have big masses of color, or it won't even show up. It would look kind of muddled. That's why I'm using 4 of these. I'm planting them in 4s, partly because they come out of the 4-pack, and that's convenient. Plants are kind of fragile, but you don't really have to baby them. They're tougher than we would think. Need to add some more blues. Another thing you can do with a container like this, since it's going to be around in the springtime, is if you like, you can plant bulbs underneath your, or even amongst, you can come back later and go down between plants and put bulbs like tulips. And then what happens is in the springtime, the tulips come up and they will bloom at about this height, and then they kind of go away, and you still have this, and it makes quite a pretty picture, I think. Oh, that's sweet. What I've done is I'll show you on the next one, but I basically have level soil here, and the plants their roots are all about the same height, so I just can fill them in. If you want to get a better effect, say you were using pansies only, if you want to have a cascading effect, then you kind of pile the dirt in the middle somewhat, and you start against the edges, laying your pansies out, and then you just put other pansies against them, and you build up so that your top swoops over like that. Anyway. Oh, and a rule that I go by when I'm doing a container is you like to have something that's kind of tall, a centerpiece. You need, in this case, we use the Snapdragons. You need something that fills the mid-range area, in this case, the Pansies. And you want something that trails, otherwise it looks unfinished, I think. The ivy is what we're using trailing, and this ivy should last through the winter. We can use it in the summer pots, or we can take it out and use it someplace else for ornamental purposes. So there you have it. We have two pretty large containers that are planted, packed with color. The rules are simple. Pack your flowers in there tightly. Use whole groups of color rather than just individual spots. Have something tall, have something in the mid-range, and have something drooping over the side. Anyone can do this.